Hi, this is part 2 of how to respond in a way that isn't fawning. All right, so Mr. Walker goes on to say, people will grieve the years they spent not exploring their own interests and not standing up for their wants and needs. They may feel angry over what was lost during those years. The anger can help someone learn to be assertive and may give them courage to create relationships without someone being in charge. Now, we have to be careful having anger help us be assertive because it can be rude or demanding, disrespectful, and still not get us what it is that we're trying to get. So we got to walk a fine line. We can't go from one extreme to the other of people pleasing to now I don't care if I walk all over you type thing. All right. So in counseling, someone is asked to recall a current or past injustice and to imagine confronting it. The person explores what makes them afraid and they sit with the fear. Then they talk about how they can respond to the situation in a way that is more likely to get them what they want or need. And so this can be, it is problem solving, but also it can be role-playing conversations. And perhaps you don't always pretend to be yourself whenever you're role-playing. Sometimes you pretend to be the other person and say what you are afraid that they're going to say or do what you're afraid that they're going to do. But you get the practice in session, but the work has to be done outside of session. We have to actually have conversations where we assert ourselves, ask for what we want, ask for what we need, even if we're afraid of the consequences, even if we're given the consequences, such as if somebody says, well, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. That really hurts, and we certainly don't want to be alone. But I'm sure at that point, we've kind of determined that was maybe an unhealthy friendship. And so then it's like, well, can we use that courage to create healthier relationships? Okay, so I'm not going to go into it in here, but when we're practicing the conversation, that would be creating I statements. So a really quick template for that is, I feel an emotion when this happens because, explain why, because it's not always clear to somebody else. And then offer a solution. I would like. But it's taking all the responsibility instead of saying, you're a slob and I hate that and you need to change, like that's certainly not gonna get us what we want. So that's why it's phrased in I, first person. Okay. The last thing that I want to, I'm getting to the last thing. So we're gonna talk about Dr. Ariella Schwartz. So she says one way to help us overcome this urge to fawn is listening to our body. So what I'm about to explain to you is what a lot of fawners may feel. They may be used to feeling a tightness in their chest or a shortness of breath, pain in their chest, maybe a pain in one of their sides, feeling really exhausted or a headache or lightheaded. They may be used to feeling these things. And they may even know, well, it's because I'm in a situation I'm uncomfortable with. But they fawn to try to make that sensation go away. Whereas what Dr. Ariel is saying is, let that clue you in to, I might fawn, and that's not necessarily what I want to do. This is a situation where I want to say what it is that I want or need. I want to ask for a compromise in the very least. So just help yourself clue into, when do I need to try these new behaviors? Okay, and then she says, journal about how else you could have responded to the past and how you can respond to current situations. So I'm gonna grab my laptop again because she's got a lot of really good prompts. I'm just gonna read this to you really fast. And again, I'm going to put these articles in the comments so you'll be able to have access. So here are some prompts for journaling. When you hurt me, I felt. The worst thing you said or did was. What I was most afraid of was. What I wish I had said to you then, but never told you was. What you could never take from me was, now we're going to talk about strengths. I know that I am strong because. What I want you to know about me now is these kinds of things. So we can even phrase it that way. You know, even if we don't want to dive too much into the past, we can just say, you know, I've learned this about myself recently and I'm going to try it out. You know, I've learned that I don't like when I don't speak up, and I'm going to start speaking up a little bit more. Okay, I hope that these have been helpful. I hope that the articles are going to be helpful. And if you have any more questions about this topic of fawning or anything else that was brought up in these videos, please ask and I will certainly share more. Thank you.